Hey everybody, it's Dave with No Chaser, and you know what? I kind of made my bed to give some semblance of having things put together. I'm wearing a shirt. There's no sleeves, but it's a shirt nonetheless because my life's a mess. Hey, I be not getting that paper. Anyways, today's topic is something I've covered before, but I want to review it because it, it deserves reviewing, and it's something really, I think, really vital in the terms of your cycle of addiction, recovery, just the experience of it, and it is it's what's known as a jumping off point, which is a kind of brittle use of words for how dire a situation could be. Probably shouldn't say jumping off point since so many of these journeys into addiction can lead to suicidal ideations. Not a great start here. But it is the point that many alcoholics or addicts find themselves in, which I've found myself in more than once, interestingly enough, where, okay, you've been using drugs and alcohol for a while because you're cool. No, but it's the consequences are building up. Your tolerance is getting higher. You have to use more often. And like I said, consequences are, they're multifaceted. We're talking trouble at work, trouble in relationships, trouble with family, trouble legally, trouble financially, and even the scale goes. It's kind of like the Dr. Seuss books, like "Oh, the Places You'll Go," but a very dark version of that. Like, "Oh, the places you'll go: homeless, childless, because your kids get taken away by the state." Really, really bad stuff. And you get to a point where you are, many think of it like you imagine the movies and stuff, which movies about recovery are so, they have to be movies, right? They have to have like a Hollywood narrative, so I don't really like them because they're not realistic. Who would have thunk Hollywood movies aren't realistic? But usually you think of the point where the person gets so just beaten down, and so like in recovery circles, like in Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, you hear the saying, sick and tired of being sick and tired. So beaten down that you're just like, okay, I'm ready. I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I have to try something, go to treatment, just go through detox, pick myself back up, quit it. I can't do it anymore. This is not the scenario I'm talking about. The scenario I'm talking about is one that is worse than that. It happens to a lot of people where you get to the point where you're so beaten down, you're like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot. But I also can't live without drugs and alcohol. That is the jumping off point, so to speak, that critical sort of crisis point where it is what's known, as you truly can't live with it and you can't live without it. There's this horrible sort of like purgatory to be in. Actually, I wouldn't even call it purgatory. It's like a hell, a form of that. And I say purgatory because it's like this seen as like a transitionary stage where this would be the point where you have to do something about it, but you can't though. Like you're like, how am I still wanting to do this stuff? And not only like wanting to do this stuff, but it's literally all I want to do. Like, not in the sense where I know I'm addicted, but like I still can't imagine my life without this stuff. And it's so, it is such this like where you are, because the differences in a lot of people's journeys is that they are beaten into submission, but this is a way where you're beaten, but you're still not in any sort of submissive part where you're still, doing it. Like I've been in the experience of like being in treatment and I'm trying like earnestly, like I can't do this anymore. I need to change. And yet I don't want to. And I'm like, why, brain? Like, what? Why? What are we doing here, man? This is so anathema to me, like existing. And it's entangled in it because, I've been on not just like the addicted journey for so much of my life, but I've been on like the attempting recovery and doing recovery and then falling off of it and everything that goes with that. So it's just like all these different iterations where I've been in the point where I've just been like, this has to stop, and I'm ready. And when I say I'm ready, it doesn't mean I don't want to do drugs and alcohol anymore. There's still an extreme urge and desire, but there is this sort of um, even more than a will, but the necessity just creates something in me that gives energy to stopping. You know, some people even refer to like as their God, the God, as the gift of desperation, where like things get so bad that you are pushed. But there's this other weird place where things can get so bad and you can't function anymore, but you're still not, your brain isn't quite there, it feels like. Now, plenty of people could say that's just you're addicted mind telling yourself that you have to be ready. Like you don't have an option to not be ready. But I mean, like to be fully candid, this isn't saying, well, if your brain tells you not to stop doing drugs, alcohol, stop, keep doing it. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying I give some sympathy and or empathy to the idea that there are people out there where you just, me being one of these people at many times where it's like, how are they not getting this? Like even other alcoholics and addicts are just looking at them like, how are they not? I mean, dude, you gotta, like, as they're like, smoking the bubble and shooting up, like, how are you not getting this, dude? Like, it is such a strange sort of place to be where, this is the part where, you get all the cliches like it's stuff like fake it till you make it, or just trust the process, or all that type of stuff. Where, truly, what makes it so difficult is you have to try to push yourself just to fully do these things, even when you're hopeless, which is one of the hardest things to do. Just when you don't like have any belief in any of it, but you just kind of have to just almost like physical therapy, like move, like something, move your muscles to where they can heal, and just try to do this stuff until it clicks. And it is so incredibly difficult for not just for doing something that's already hard. Like even when you're ready to stop, it's still incredibly difficult, obviously. But even when it feels like you're not, to do that and just wait for your mind, because your mind is so unpredictable, and you don't know. Now, there's the mantras that everything is temporary, and this too shall pass, and again, all the platitudes you can hear, but when you're not, when you don't have that sort of idea that it will change, it feels like it never will. And, that's the, I don't know, the rub, or it's one of the difficult parts to be in, and the part that I've existed in plenty of times, and my heart goes out to you if you're in that part. And sometimes I waver, where I just have to just try to instill this thought where dude, it doesn't matter if you're ready to stop or not. It really doesn't. It doesn't. There's not you face consequences that are now so dire that start to border on truly lethal, that what are we gonna, and that's the other scary part, is that there's sometimes when your mind will go, I don't care if it's lethal. And then you get to a point where you're almost dying, and you're like, okay, I do care, and it might be too late. And so, it's so important to kind of just, like I said, almost in that weird sort of try to just pretend you're on autopilot in doing the steps to get better, and just have to, oh God, it's so difficult when you don't even really feel it, but have to believe that it will, your mind will probably click to it. I don't know. That's I'm trying to get to that place myself. So, like I said, if you like these videos, subscribe, or don't. Maybe try it out. I also co-host a podcast called Shoeless in South Dakota with my dear friend, where we talk about this type of stuff and many other insane sort of existential and sociological and psychological stuff, with a lot of very juvenile humor. And yeah, other than that, be well.